This channel is proudly partnered with the What the Funk shop. Please check out their store for all sorts of products. They have dice, miniatures, Game Master screens, home decorations, and many other things. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. And make sure that you use my code for a special discount. This channel is proudly sponsored by pt4 Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop RPG where you play as monster girls, experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have recently released the Whispers of Copperridge adventure module. You will find the links in the description and in the pinned comment. Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring Slave Maids of Gomorrah IV. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this anime-style tabletop RPG, where a dominatrix and her team of slaves travel across the galaxy in search of pleasure and glory, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about clothing. And here to help us illustrate this video, we have a snippet of Sarah from Queen's Blade. Each slave has a total of 6 articles of clothing. An article of clothing can be sacrificed to completely negate an attack. One article of clothing is an outermost layer, and no penalty is taken from losing it. 4 articles of clothing are middle layers and inflict a -1 penalty to a specific stat if damaged. That is, out of the 6 articles, the first one is going to be an outer garment, and I will give you examples in a few moments. And then 4 articles of clothing are going to be underneath that outermost article. Each of the 4 middle layers affects a different attribute, and must affect the slave's 4 highest attributes at character creation. There is no need to change the outfit if the slave's stats change during play. However, the final article of clothing is an underwear layer, without which the slave is completely naked, and losing it inflicts -2 penalty to all stats. This does not stack with the penalties for losing the middle layer. Slaves only take penalties for losing an article of clothing if that article of clothing is lost to negate an attack. If a slave is ordered to strip some or all of her clothing off, she takes no penalties. However, she cannot deflect attacks by sacrificing an article of clothing she isn't wearing. If a slave starts a day without an article of clothing, she takes no penalties for the lack of it, even if it was previously lost to battle damage. Once lost, an article of clothing can only be restored by a skill check made as a chore roll for a shift. The target number for this task depends on the layer being repaired or restored, so the slave is basically sewing a new piece of clothing, similar to in Queen's Blade Grimoire when Alice, every time she lost her clothes, you know how this character, the Mad Hatter, created new clothes for her. It's similar to that. But it depends on your character. Maybe you are skinning some alien creature and using that skin as your new clothes, or perhaps the slave acquires a new set of clothes from a store or something like that. Now, when it comes to examples, in the case of the outer layer, maybe your character is wearing a cloak or pauldrons. In the case of middle layer examples, for the head, maybe you have a combat helmet, or maybe some goggles. In the case of body, you have a flak vest perhaps, or a mechanic's jumpsuit. In the case of hands, maybe you are wearing heavy gauntlets, or perhaps a signet ring. In the case of legs, perhaps a skirt or a loincloth. In the case of feet, perhaps you are wearing combat boots or anklets. In the case of accessories, perhaps an astral amulet or a utility belt. And in the case of the underlayer, maybe you are wearing a tech mesh bodysuit, or maybe a sports bra and panties. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about conflict. I really like these clothes rules, the way that you lose them in order to avoid taking damage, and the penalties that you take from such a loss. And it also lends itself perfectly for some comedic erotic anime situations. Thank you for watching this part of the review. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member or using the super thanks button. You can also check out the pinned comment below. This has been Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. I am currently unavailable for professional sessions, but I will put my contact information in the description and in the pinned comment for when I am available again. And remember, master roleplay and you will master the game. Once again, thank you and see you later.